Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. When you look at the Miami Dolphins right now, it's hard not to feel that something's brewing behind the scenes, something big, something that could reshape the future of the franchise. The chatter around the league has grown louder over the past few weeks, and the latest buzz from ESPN's Dan Graziano has thrown gasoline on that fire. The idea that Arizona Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray could be a potential replacement for Tua Tagovailoa. Miami, yeah, you heard that right. Kyler Murray, the explosive, sometimes polarizing, but undeniably talented playmaker out of Arizona, could end up wearing aqua and orange next season if things keep heading the way they're going. And if you've been paying attention to the Dolphins this year, you know this isn't just some wild rumor pulled out of thin air. It's starting to make a lot of sense. Let's start with the obvious. The Dolphins are struggling badly, sitting at 3-7 in a season that was supposed to cement them as one of the AFC's new powerhouses. Miami looks like a team that's completely lost its identity. And at the center of that disappointment is Tua Tagovailoa, a quarterback who once looked like the perfect fit for Mike McDaniel's high-flying, motion-heavy offense. But this season, things have unraveled. Tua currently leads the league in interceptions. His decision-making has been all over the place, and his confidence seems to be fading faster than the team's playoff hopes. This isn't the same calm, precise, rhythm-based quarterback we saw carving up defenses just a year ago. Something's broken, and the Dolphins can't ignore it anymore. When Dan Graziano floated the idea that Miami could join the list of teams looking for a new quarterback if they lose faith in Tua by season's end, it didn't sound far-fetched. In fact, it almost sounded inevitable. The Dolphins have invested heavily in talent around Tua: Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, a solid offensive line, and a defense built to pressure opposing quarterbacks. But all that talent means nothing if the guy under center can't protect the football or stay healthy long enough to lead them. And that last point might be the most critical. Tua's injury history is well documented and deeply concerning. 3 concussions since joining the league, multiple lower body injuries, and only one season in which he's played more than 13 games. That's not a recipe for long-term stability, no matter how accurate or likable the guy is. Now, the idea of bringing in Kyler Murray might sound like a drastic move, and it is. But let's be honest, it's also the kind of bold swing that franchises make when they're desperate to turn potential into production. Murray has his flaws, no question. He's had trouble staying healthy himself, and the Cardinals haven't exactly been world beaters with him under center, posting just one winning season since drafting him first overall in 2019. But there's no denying his ceiling. When Kyler is locked in, when he's improvising out of the pocket, throwing lasers on the run, and breaking defenders' ankles with his speed, he looks like one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in the league. He's the kind of player who can change a game with one play, and that's the kind of juice Miami could desperately use right now. The Cardinals, for their part, might finally be ready to move on. Their 3-6 record suggests yet another losing campaign. And while Murray's contract is massive, making a trade complicated, the whispers around the league indicate that Arizona could outright release him before his 2027 guarantees kick in next March. That would open the door for a team like Miami to swoop in and take a chance. It's risky, but sometimes that's what it takes to turn things around. The Dolphins, sitting in this frustrating middle ground, not bad enough to rebuild, but not good enough to contend, might need that kind of shakeup. From a football perspective, the fit is intriguing. Mike McDaniel's offensive system thrives on motion, timing, and getting playmakers in space. Kyler Murray, when healthy, can extend plays and turn broken designs into explosive moments. Imagine Tyreek Hill streaking downfield while Kyler buys time, dodging defenders like he's in a video game. Picture Jalen Waddle cutting across the middle, catching a dart from Murray, and taking it to the house. That's the kind of electricity that could reignite Hard Rock Stadium and put Miami back in the national spotlight, not as a disappointment, but as a dangerous, unpredictable contender. Murray's arm strength, quick release, and ability to make plays off script could give McDaniel a new layer of creativity, one that Tua, for all his accuracy, simply doesn't provide. But here's where things get complicated. Tua is loved in Miami. He's respected by his teammates, embraced by the fan base, and for a time, looked like the answer to decades of quarterback frustration since the days of Dan Marino. Moving On from him wouldn't just be a football decision, it would be an emotional one. The organization backed him publicly through injuries, through doubts, through all the "is he the guy" conversations, but loyalty only goes so far in this business. When a team keeps losing, when the turnovers pile up, and when availability becomes a constant question mark, even the most loyal fan bases start to turn the page. The firing of general manager Chris Grier, the man who gave TUA his extension, might already be a signal that the Dolphins are preparing for change. A new GM means a new philosophy, and new leadership often wants their own quarterback. Meanwhile, in Arizona, Murray's own story has been just as turbulent. From the flashes of brilliance that earned him a massive contract, to the questions about his leadership, his film study habits, and his relationship with former head coach Cliff Kingsbury. It's been a roller coaster. The Cardinals' new regime seems committed to a rebuild, and despite Murray's talent, his timeline doesn't quite fit their vision. He's in that awkward space where he's too good to tank with, but not good enough, or healthy enough, to lift a mediocre roster into contention. That's why a change of scenery might be exactly what he needs, too, sometimes. Both sides just need to hit the reset button. So what would a Kyler to Miami move actually look like if the Cardinals release him? The Dolphins could sign him without giving up draft capital, though they'd have to navigate his salary demands. If Arizona somehow finds a trade partner, Miami would have to get creative with the cap. Not impossible, but tricky still. The Dolphins have shown they're willing to spend and restructure to stay competitive. This is a franchise that has already gone all in on high-end talent across the roster. If they truly believe that a quarterback swap could push them over the edge, they'll find a way to make it happen. Of course, there's the other side of the coin. What if TUA finishes the season strong? What if he silences the critics, leads Miami on a late surge, and reminds everyone of the player who once led the league in passer rating? That would complicate everything. The Dolphins might hesitate to pull the plug if he shows signs of resurgence. But as of now, that seems like a long shot. The body language on the field, the inconsistency, the turnovers, it all feels like a team slowly accepting that it's time to move on. And then there's the fan perspective. Dolphins fans have been through this before, the endless quarterback carousel of the post-Marino era. They've seen names come and go, promises made and broken, potential never realized. TUA was supposed to end that cycle, but the NFL is a brutal business, and sentiment rarely wins out over results. If Miami believes Kyler Murray offers even a glimpse of a higher ceiling, they might be tempted to take that leap, even if it means starting over at the most important position in sports in the end. This story isn't just about TUA or Kyler, it's about the franchises stuck in a similar purgatory. Talented, but underachieving, hopeful but frustrated, and to quarterbacks who might need each other too. Find redemption. TUA needs a reset. Maybe somewhere with less pressure, a chance to rebuild confidence and stay healthy. Kyler needs a fresh start with a creative offensive mind and dynamic weapons around him. Miami offers that. Arizona doesn't anymore. The stars could be aligning, and if this season continues the way it's going, don't be surprised if we're talking about Kyler Murray as the new face of the Miami Dolphins by next summer. For now, it's all speculation, all smoke, but as every NFL fan knows, where there's smoke, there's usually fire. The Dolphins have to make a decision soon. Stick with TUA and hope for a miracle turnaround, or take a swing at a former one pick who's just as flawed, but maybe, just maybe, more capable of taking them to the next level. One thing's for sure, whatever Miami decides, it's going to send shockwaves through the league, because in the NFL, the difference between mediocrity and greatness often comes down to one player, the quarterback. And the Dolphins, for all their talent, might finally be realizing that they still don't have the right one. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments, what's your take on the Fins this week? Rumors have been swirling around the NFL in recent days, and one name that keeps popping up on every insider's radar is WILLS Jr., the talented, yet surprisingly under-the-radar offensive lineman, whose career trajectory has been as unpredictable as it has been intriguing. Just yesterday, reports began leaking that WILLS Jr., who until now had been without a contract, is heading to the Miami Dolphins. The news, still unofficial in certain circles, has already sent waves through both fan bases and analysts alike, sparking debates, speculations, and endless what-if scenarios about how this move could reshape the Dolphins' offensive line. The story starts Of course, with Wills Jr.'s status as an unsigned talent. A player who, despite showing flashes of brilliance in college and brief stints in professional play, somehow found himself on the outside looking in while the NFL's contract frenzy unfolded around him. To see him now potentially landing in Miami feels like a plot twist straight out of a sports drama. A player who could have easily been overlooked is suddenly at the center of one of the most talked about roster moves of the season. The speculation began early in the morning when insiders hinted that negotiations had reached an advanced stage. While nothing had been officially confirmed, sources close to the Dolphins organization hinted that they had been actively exploring options to bolster the offensive line and that Wills Jr.'s name had risen to the top of their wish list for a team that has faced persistent concerns about protecting their quarterback and solidifying their run game. The potential acquisition of a player like Wills Jr. could be seen as a strategic masterstroke or a gamble, depending on whom you ask. What makes this story even more tantalizing is the fact that Wills Jr. wasn't just sitting idly by. Rumors suggest that he has been training rigorously, preparing himself for exactly this kind of opportunity. Analysts have been quick to point out that his combination of agility, strength, and football IQ makes him a rare commodity, especially for a Dolphins squad that has been searching for stability. In key positions along the offensive front, fans across social media erupted with excitement, debating how Wills Jr.'s presence might shift the balance in upcoming matchups, particularly in high-stakes games, where offensive line performance can be the difference between victory and heartbreak. The narrative surrounding Wills Jr. is as compelling as it is unpredictable. A player without a current contract landing with a team like the Dolphins feels like the beginning of a redemption story. Some insiders are framing this as a second-chance narrative, highlighting how Wills Jr. has quietly honed his craft away from the spotlight, waiting for the perfect moment to reintroduce himself to the league. For the Dolphins, the move is being portrayed as a low-risk, high-reward strategy, a chance to bring in a talented athlete without the burdens of a blockbuster contract or long-term financial commitment. And yet, as with any rumor in the NFL, skepticism runs high. Questions are being asked about Wills Jr.'s consistency, about whether the flashes of talent he has shown can translate into week-to-week performance in a league where every play is scrutinized. Will he rise to the occasion? Or will he become another name in a long list of promising talents who never quite reached their potential? These are the conversations happening behind closed doors in Miami and across fan forums worldwide, and every whisper seems to amplify the intrigue. From a strategic standpoint, the timing of this move could not be more fascinating. The Dolphins have been carefully evaluating their roster, balancing veteran experience with young talent, and looking for pieces that can elevate both their offense and overall team cohesion. Wills Jr., according to insiders, fits a very specific profile, a player who can immediately impact the team without requiring extensive adjustment time. Someone who brings a combination of versatility and grit that aligns perfectly with the coaching philosophy in Miami. Rumors suggest that the coaching staff is particularly excited about his potential to strengthen both pass protection schemes and run-blocking formations, areas that have been under close scrutiny in recent seasons. If the deal goes through, Wills Jr. won't just be another signing. He could be the missing puzzle piece that allows the Dolphins to finally execute the kind of offensive plays that have been missing in critical moments. Analysts are already hypothesizing how his presence could alter the dynamics of the offensive line, potentially giving quarterbacks more time to make plays, opening lanes for running backs, and overall elevating the efficiency of Miami's attack. The ripple effects of this rumored move are sparking endless debates, with some suggesting it could even influence draft strategies in the near future. Of course, the human element cannot be ignored. Wills Jr.'s journey to this rumored Dolphins landing is more than just stats and athleticism. It's a story of resilience, patience, and timing. Sources close to the player hint at long nights of training, studying game film, and maintaining peak physical condition despite the uncertainty of not having a contract. The mental toughness required to stay ready while teams make deals and reshuffle rosters is immense, and Wills Jr. appears to embody that perseverance. Fans have taken notice, flooding social media with messages of encouragement and speculation, imagining the kind of energy and determination he could bring to the Dolphins locker room. The narrative almost writes itself. A player overlooked, underestimated, and now potentially stepping into a spotlight that could define his career. for those who thrive on the drama of the NFL's behind-the-scenes maneuvers. This is exactly the kind of story that captures imaginations and sparks endless discussion. It's the kind of rumor that dominates sports chatter because it combines talent, opportunity, and timing in a way that feels almost cinematic, even as the buzz grows. Analysts are dissecting every possible angle. Some are raising questions about the terms of the deal. Will it be short-term, performance-based, or something more substantial? While details remain murky, the consensus is that Miami is taking a calculated approach, eager to see what Wills Jr. can bring to the table without overcommitting resources. Speculation also extends to the team's internal dynamics, with questions about how current linemen might respond to a new competitor for starting spots, and whether Wills Jr.'s arrival could spark both healthy competition and necessary adjustments in the lineup. Fans are already theorizing how this could affect game strategies, imagining scenarios where the Dolphins' offensive line suddenly becomes a formidable wall, changing the entire rhythm of the team's offense. Rumors of Wills Jr.'s signing have also reignited debates over the value of underrated players, the importance of scouting, and the unpredictable nature of player development in the modern NFL. In short, every angle is being scrutinized and every potential outcome is being dissected, creating a buzz that has become almost impossible to ignore as the day progresses. The story is evolving, with whispers of medical checks, contract signings, and the first glimpses of Wills Jr. in Dolphins gear, keeping fans glued to updates. The rumor mill is running at full speed, blending fact, speculation, and hope in a way that has made this one of the most talked about potential moves in recent memory. While nothing is official yet, the momentum behind Wills Jr.'s rumored arrival is undeniable, a testament to both his talent and the curiosity surrounding his career path. Analysts continue to weigh in, comparing him to other players who have thrived after similar wait-and-see periods, and fans are lining up to debate whether this move could be the spark Miami needs to elevate their season. Every report, every insider whisper, adds another layer to a narrative that is part strategy, part human drama, and entirely captivating. In the end, whether Wills Jr. officially joins the Dolphins or not, the conversation he has ignited is already shaping perceptions about team strategy, player value, and the unpredictable nature of the NFL. Rumors like these are more than just gossip. They are a window into the complex, high-stakes world of professional football, where timing, talent, and opportunity collide in ways that can alter careers and reshape franchises overnight. For now, fans, analysts, and insiders alike are holding their breath, watching every hint and listening to every whisper, knowing that if this deal happens, Wills Jr.'s story could quickly shift from that of an overlooked free agent to a central figure in one of the league's most compelling narratives. The Dolphins, the player, and the league itself are all at the edge of what could be a dramatic new chapter, and the excitement, the speculation, and the endless what-ifs ensure that Wills Jr.'s name will be echoing in conversations for weeks to come. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up!